Hello, mi vida. Come in, come in. Sit down. You look like you are rushing, and you know what that does to the brain, yes? It makes the beautiful, complicated machine inside your head feel like a chicken running from the butcher. Too much stress, too much speed, no good. You are here today because you want to know the secret, the real secret, to keeping the lamp burning brightly even when the body is starting to feel a little like a house that has seen a few too many rainstorms. We are talking about the brain, of course. After 60 years, or 70, or 80 if you are lucky like me, people tell you that your mind is supposed to slow down, to forget, to quieten. They call it nonsense. My abuela, my grandmother, she lived to be almost 100 years old, and she was sharper than a new set of sewing needles right up until the last week. She didn't have fancy doctors or magnetic resonance images or even a television, but she had wisdom. She had habits, and what I want to share with you today is the beautiful, comforting truth that the 5 simple things she did every single day, well, science has finally caught up to her. They are not expensive pills. They are not complicated puzzles. They are 5 daily habits that cost nothing but a little intention, and they are proven by the smartest people in white coats to rebuild the roads in your brain day after day. It is called neuroplasticity, and it means your brain is never set in stone. It is always a garden you can tend, even now. We will start with the one that seems the most obvious, but is the one most of us forget as soon as our knees start to complain. Habit 1, the daily dance of the body. The first habit is simply this: move your body every single day. I know. You thought I was going to tell you to learn quantum physics, but the science is crystal clear. Physical exercise, even a little bit, is a powerful way to boost your memory and cognitive control, and it literally strengthens the connections in your brain. My husband, Ernesto, bless his soul, he was a man of the earth. He worked hard all his life, but when he retired, he sat down. He sat down in the good armchair, and he stayed there. He said, "Rosario, my working is done. Now I rest." And he began to shrink, not just his muscles, but his memory. He would forget where he put his spectacles while they were on his head. He would call our daughter by the wrong name. It broke my heart because the mind I loved, the one that used to recite love poems when we were young, was getting dusty. I tried everything. I brought him puzzles. I brought him new books. Nothing worked. Then, one spring day, I remembered my abuela. She would never sit for long. She was always moving, sweeping, tending her tiny patch of peppers. She called it her daily walk with purpose. And I realized that Ernesto didn't need a gym. He needed a purpose. I found a small, neglected shed at the very back of our yard. It was full of junk, tools we hadn't used in 20 years, and a lifetime of forgotten projects. I told Ernesto, "The shed, it is full of rats. I cannot go in there. It must be cleaned out today. I need the space for my new sewing machine. It is an emergency." This was a lie, of course. The sewing machine was just fine inside the house. Ernesto, who was very proud and hated the thought of a rat invasion, went out with a shovel and a look of deep obligation. He spent the first day just pulling things out: a broken wheelbarrow, an ancient rusted bicycle. He was sighing, he was grumbling, but he was moving. He was bending, lifting, carrying. And what happened after a week of this physical labor? He started to sleep better. He started to ask me questions about the things he was finding, relics from the past. "Rosario, do you remember this old fishing lure?" This was the one that caught the giant bass the year our son Fernando was born. The memories, they were coming back because the blood was moving again, carrying life to the dusty corners of his brain. One afternoon, about 3 weeks into the shed project, he came in, wiping the sweat from his forehead, but with a strange, almost fearful look in his eyes. He wasn't tired, he was nervous. "Rosario," he whispered, his voice catching, "I found a box, hidden, tucked behind the old water heater. It's not ours, it has a lock, and inside, I think there is a secret." The box itself was beautiful, old wood carved with flowers, but the brass lock was heavy and secured. Ernesto insisted he had never seen it before. I was immediately suspicious. Whose secret could this be, and why was it in our shed? I tried to calm him, telling him it must be something the previous owners left behind, but he was fixated. The act of moving, of stirring up the old dust, had stirred up something deeper in his mind, something from the past that he thought was buried forever. The simple physical act of cleaning a shed had turned into a mystery, and it brought his laser focus back. He spent the next 3 days drawing different keys, trying to remember if he had ever seen one like it. His mind, which had been so slow, was now racing, activated by this puzzle and the need to know the truth. It showed me that the walking, the moving, it's not just about the body, it's about firing up the part of the brain that says, "I am alive and I have work to do." I made him promise we would open it together, but not until we had done Armando, our walk to the grocery store that day. He walked faster than he had in 10 years, the anticipation driving him. So, the first habit is movement, not running marathons, just walking, bending, gardening, or cleaning a shed full of secrets. It is your daily dose of nature's best medicine. But what do you do with that sharp mind once the dust is cleared out? You feed it. Habit 2, the taste of challenge. The second habit is learn something new that challenges you every day. Your brain loves novelty. When you learn a new skill, even one that seems silly or small, you are promoting the formation of brand new connections between your nerve cells. It's like building a new bridge over a river, a superhighway for your thoughts. I always thought I was done learning. My children were raised, my kitchen was mastered, my life was organized. What else was there? Then my youngest granddaughter, Isabella, she moved far away for university. And suddenly, the only way to see her face was through a glass screen called a tablet. She tried to teach me how to use the video calling app, but it was too fast. The little icons, the tiny buttons, it was like trying to herd chickens in the wind. I was ready to give up. I told her, "Isabella, send me letters. I can read letters. This new technology is for the young ones." But then the family needed me. Ernesto's cousin, Lalo, had been working in a city 3 states away, and he had an emergency, a real medical scare. He needed someone to check on his apartment and his beloved parrot, Pepe. Lalo could only communicate the address and the key code to the apartment complex through a confusing series of rapid-fire text messages and emails. The key code, I swear, had 6 numbers and 4 symbols, and I had to type it into a tiny little keypad outside the building. If I didn't master the texting and the emailing immediately, Lalo would be in trouble and Pepe the parrot would starve. It was terrifying. It was a race against the clock. I sat there with my tablet, sweating, my fingers moving like clumsy sausages on the screen. My great-grandson, a boy of 9, took pity on me. He sat next to me and said, "Abuela, it is just like a video game. You need the password cheat code to unlock the next level." He taught me the system. He taught me to memorize the sequence by saying the numbers and symbols out loud in a silly song. The apartment address, the key code, the bus routes, it all became a musical challenge. And it worked. I got to Lalo's apartment, fed Pepe, and found everything was safe. The satisfaction was enormous, but the real surprise came later. After that, my hands felt lighter, my memory faster. I started playing the password cheat code song in my head just for fun. Then I decided I wasn't going to stop. I took up online chess. The pieces moved on the screen, and I had to learn a completely new way to visualize the board, a new set of rules and strategies. It was infuriating at first. I lost every single game, but my mind was buzzing. I was building a new muscle. And the best part? During one of the chess matches, I started chatting with my opponent, a sweet gentleman from the north, and we discovered we had both immigrated to the US in the same year, 1968. He mentioned a name, a man who worked at the factory where my father-in-law had his only job. My father-in-law had a small secret himself, a debt he never spoke of that caused him great anxiety. The man's name my chess partner mentioned, it was the key to understanding a decades-long family silence about that debt, a secret I thought I'd never uncover. This new, silly skill, online chess, had not only sharpened my mind, but had finally given me the tool to unlock a piece of my family's hidden history. The man's name was Tomas. My chess partner, Carlos, casually mentioned that Tomas had a reputation for lending money out of the back of the factory. Now, my father-in-law, a proud man, never took help from anyone, but the anxiety he carried about a mistake he made was a constant shadow over our early years. Could Tomas have been involved? The debt wasn't money, it was something else, something heavier that made my father-in-law avoid the factory's annual picnic for 10 years. I pressed Carlos for details, but he just laughed and said, "Tomas, he was a complicated man. Let me check my old address book. I may have an old phone number for his son." And then he disconnected from our chat. I was left hanging, the entire weight of my father-in-law's mystery suddenly resting on a 9-digit phone number. I realized that learning to navigate the digital world didn't just help my memory, it opened up a new world of connection and information that my generation was often taught to fear. Never stop learning. Never say, "That is for the young people." A new language, a new instrument, a new computer game. It is all fuel for the beautiful machine. Now, to keep this newly sharpened, newly connected brain running efficiently, you need to think about the engine. And that means what you put inside. Habit 3, the garden as medicine. The third habit is treat your daily food like it is your medicine. This is a simple one, but not always an easy one in this land of fast food and sugar. But your diet plays a tremendous role in your brain health. Specifically, science backs up what my people have known for centuries. A diet rich in plant-based foods, whole grains, and healthy fats is the best fuel. Think Mediterranean, or just think fresh from the earth. When I was a little girl, if we were sick, my abuela didn't go to the pharmacy. She went to the garden. She knew exactly which herb would settle the stomach, which root would help the fever. And if we needed strength, she didn't give us candy. She gave us a bowl of her hearty vegetable stew, rich with beans, squash, and simple corn. For years, I followed the American diet: convenience, sugar, salt. It was easy, and I was busy raising a family. But about 15 years ago, I started to feel a constant mental fog. I would walk into a room and forget why I was there 5 times a day. I told my doctor I thought I was losing my mind. He ran tests, poked and prodded, and then he gave me the most surprising advice. He looked at me, a young, very serious doctor with tiny glasses, and he said, "Rosario, I want you to stop eating anything that your abuela would not recognize." He explained that all the saturated fats, the processed sugars, They cause a kind of inflammation in the body and, yes, in the brain too. It's like pouring sludge into the engine of a beautiful car. He talked about the studies that show how fruits, vegetables, and healthy oils are the perfect antidote to this brain fog. I went home and threw out half my pantry. I went back to the old ways. I started making my food from scratch. Simple, colorful, heavy on the beans and greens. And the fog lifted. It didn't just lift, it evaporated. My energy returned, and so did my sharpness. But the most incredible thing happened when I tried to use this new clarity to solve the mystery of the box Ernesto found in the shed. I thought the key might be in a forgotten family story, and I decided to prepare the famous caldo de res, beef broth with vegetables, that my mother used to make when she needed to get people talking. While I was chopping the carrots and the zucchini, I realized the old box was made of a type of wood that only grew in my grandfather's home village, a place we hadn't visited in 60 years. As I was seasoning the broth, using a specific combination of herbs, cilantro, oregano, and a tiny pinch of a spice only my family used, the unique aroma hit me. I suddenly remembered a detail Ernesto told me 40 years ago, a story about his time as a young man traveling to that same village for a relative's funeral. He was supposed to bring back a religious relic for his mother. He came back empty-handed, heartbroken, and completely silent about the reason. The smell of the soup, the familiar taste of the healthy, clean food, triggered a deep, forgotten memory connection in my brain, and I realized that the box hidden in our shed wasn't a secret from Ernesto, it was a secret of Ernesto's. The spice in the soup, a specific rare chili called chilhuacle, was the clue. Ernesto's mother had sent him to the village with money to buy a carving of St. Jude Thaddeus. But the artisan was poor and dying, and Ernesto, a young man who always wore his heart on his sleeve, bought him tools instead of the carving. He didn't want to upset his deeply religious mother, so he came home empty-handed and silent about his failure. But the artist, in gratitude, must have made him something else, something small and wooden, and given it to him to remember the secret transaction. The shed, that's where Ernesto, years later, must have hidden the small locked box, afraid his mother would find it and discover his act of disobedience. The clarity that came from simply eating fresh, clean food allowed my brain to connect a smell from 50 years ago with a story from 40 years ago, and finally with the mysterious box. It showed me that the right food is not just nourishment, it is a powerful tool for memory recall, clearing away the fog so the past can speak to us clearly. Now you have a sharp mind, you have a moving body, and you have clean fuel. But none of this works if you forget the most human element of all. Habit 4, the sound of laughter. The fourth habit is keep your friends and family closer than your remote control. Science calls it social connection. I call it living. Strong social ties are absolutely crucial for brain health. Isolation is one of the biggest threats to the aging mind. Socializing lowers the risk of health problems, fosters mental health, and literally strengthens your cognitive resilience. I saw the other side of this with my friend Elena, a beautiful woman full of fire. But when her husband passed, she closed the door. She became a prisoner of her grief. She stopped answering the phone. She stopped coming to the coffee group. The chair at my dining table, the one that was hers, stayed empty. I would knock and she would call through the door, "I am fine, Rosario. I am just busy." But she wasn't fine. She was isolating, and you could hear it in the tremor of her voice. She thought she was protecting herself from pain, but she was starving her brain of the essential vitamins of human interaction. The connection, the back and forth of conversation, the need to remember details about another person's life, it all keeps the neural pathways buzzing. One day, I decided enough was enough. I baked her favorite bread, the sweet pan dulce with the crunchy topping. I went to her house, but instead of knocking, I left the bread on her porch swing with a small note that said only, "Your chair is waiting," and I went home. She didn't call, I didn't push. But the next day, a small, worn photograph appeared on my own porch swing. It was a picture of Elena and me laughing at a picnic decades ago, with a small, handwritten quote from a forgotten poem on the back. It was her way of saying she hadn't forgotten, but she wasn't ready to talk. The connection was there, but fragile. I knew I had to go further. I decided to use the momentum of the mystery box in my shed. I finally managed to open it. It was simple. The key was hidden under the handle. Inside, there was no St. Jude, but a beautiful, miniature wooden dollhouse, intricately carved, and inside the tiny kitchen of the dollhouse was a miniature folded drawing of a chili pepper, the artist's subtle nod to my abuela's cooking. But there was one other thing in the box, a small sealed letter addressed to Elena. I was stunned. Why would my husband, Ernesto, have a letter to Elena hidden and locked away for decades? Were they involved? My mind, which was so sharp now thanks to the 5 habits, immediately went to the worst-case scenario, the kind of dramatic betrayal you see in a bad television show. The physical act of carrying the letter to her house was heavy with dread. My hands trembled as I walked to her door. This was not the reunion I had planned. This was a potential disaster. I knocked. The door opened a crack. Elena's eyes, wide and tired, looked out. "Elena," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I found this in the shed. It was locked away with Ernesto's things." Her eyes went immediately to the small yellowed envelope. Her expression didn't show surprise, but a deep, sorrowful recognition. She opened the door, a slow, hesitant motion, and invited me into the dim, quiet house. She looked at the letter, but didn't open it. She just held it. "This is not what you think, Rosario," she said, her voice dry. "This is not about an affair. This is about a mistake we both made a long, long time ago, before either of us knew Ernesto was the man I would lose. That letter, it holds the key to the day I lost the most important thing in my life." The drama of it was almost too much. I had tried to pull her back into the light of social connection, only to accidentally uncover a dark secret that tied her to my husband and threatened to destroy our decades-long friendship. But the simple act of carrying the letter, of being present in her life, was already breaking through our isolation. We were talking. We were connected by a shared painful moment. The tension was terrifying, but the silence, the isolation was gone. Now, how did I manage to keep my composure through all this unexpected, explosive drama? How did I sleep at night knowing that my husband's past was wrapped up in my best friend's sadness? That brings us to the most powerful and often the most neglected of the 5 habits. Habit 5, the quiet reset. The 5th and final habit is make your sleep non-negotiable. You can walk all day, learn a new language, and eat the healthiest diet, but if you neglect your sleep, you are short-circuiting all the good work. Nighttime sleep is the crucial time when your brain performs its neural repair. It consolidates memory, clears out metabolic waste, and prepares you for the next day. Sleep disturbances are directly linked to cognitive decline. When Ernesto and I first moved to this country, we were poor and scared. We had no family nearby, and the silence of the new neighborhood felt like a heavy blanket. I used to wake up every hour checking the locks, worrying about the money, worrying about our children's future. I spent 2 solid years in a state of perpetual exhaustion. My memory was terrible. I couldn't focus. I was short-tempered and constantly on edge. I confessed this to the kindest woman I met here, an Irish neighbor named Mrs. O'Malley, who worked at the bakery. She listened to my frantic tale of sleepless nights and worries about the future. She said, "Rosario, darling, you're trying to carry tomorrow's troubles on tonight's shoulders. That's a fool's burden." She told me that every night before I went to bed, I needed to do a mental dumping. She didn't mean thinking about the worries. She meant writing them down, every single fear, every item on the to-do list, every painful memory. You get it out of your head and onto the paper. It is a way of telling your brain, it's handled. You can rest now. The watch is over. It sounded silly, but I tried it. I bought a small, humble composition book. The first night, I filled 3 pages with my anxiety. Find a job, pay the rent. Fernando needs new shoes. What if we get deported? I shut the book and put it under my pillow. And I slept. I slept 7 hours straight. For the first time in years, the deep, restorative sleep that allows the brain to heal itself. It was miraculous. This small, simple routine was the anchor that brought me back to myself, restoring my energy and my clarity of thought. That sleep habit was the only thing that allowed me to handle the terrifying encounter with Elena and the mysterious letter. I watched Elena sitting on her couch, holding the envelope that contained a secret between her and my late husband. She finally took a deep, shuddering breath and tore it open. Inside, there wasn't a love note or a confession of betrayal. It was a single, folded piece of paper written in Ernesto's neat, youthful script. "Elena, I know you were hoping I would bring back the carving of the saint, but I failed. I used the money to buy tools for the dying artist instead. I cannot tell my mother. Please, tell her I lost the money and the carving on the way. I will owe you this lie for the rest of my life. Forgive me." The most important thing Elena had lost wasn't my husband. It was the St. Jude carving. She was the one who had to go back and tell his mother that the relic was lost, covering for Ernesto's act of impulsive kindness. His mother, heartbroken, cut Elena out of her life, believing Elena had been careless with the family's money and faith. Elena carried the burden of a lie, told to protect the man she secretly loved before he married me for over 50 years. Her isolation wasn't just grief, it was the weight of that unconfessed secret. The letter was a confession of a kindness and the apology for a necessary lie, not a betrayal. The weight that had held Elena in her house for years, the deep sadness that had been starving her mind of connection, simply lifted. She finally understood that Ernesto's secret box was a way to apologize to her decades later, a testament to his own inability to tell the truth. It was a complex human moment, wrapped up in a childhood debt, a carving, and a tiny dollhouse. We cried together, and then we laughed, truly laughed, for the first time in 5 years. That night, Elena called me. She hadn't written down her worries, but she had spent the whole evening on the phone with her sister, telling her the whole complex, beautiful story, finally sharing the burden. And she slept too. The final lesson. So, there you have it, the 5 habits that kept my abuela sharp and that science now confirms are the blueprints for a healthy, vibrant mind after 60. 1. Move your body. The daily walk, the bending, the lifting. It's the engine oil for your brain. It clears the mental dust and brings the blood, and with it, the memory. 2. Learn a new skill. The cheat codes, the chess game, the new language. It builds new bridges and opens new worlds. 3. Eat clean food. the garden as medicine. Simple, plant-based food that lowers inflammation and keeps the fog away so you can see your own past clearly. 4. Connect socially. The empty chair must be filled. Laughter, conversation, shared stories, it is a cognitive workout that is non-negotiable. 5. Prioritize sleep, the quiet reset. Write down the worries, close the book, and let your brain do its neuro repair. Look at what happened when I practiced these 5 things in my own life. I did not just stay sharp. I uncovered a family secret, found a missing piece of my history, and repaired a broken, decades-long friendship. These habits are not a race. They are a rhythm. They are the beautiful, slow, intentional dance of a life well lived. Your body is a wonderful machine, but your brain is the master musician. Give it the instrument, give it the music, and give it the rest, and it will play a beautiful song for many, many more years to come. Do not wait for a secret box in a dusty shed to start moving. Do not wait for a medical crisis to start eating clean. Start today. Go for your walk. Say hello to a neighbor. And tonight, write down the worries, close the book, and let your amazing brain rest. You have the secret now. Don't let it get dusty. Go with God, my love. And thank you for listening to an old woman's stories. I will see you next time.